The Pacific Islands. Although the Pacific Islands look like a good region for societal growth at first, being spread out in an east west direction and having a tropical climate, the distance of the islands from each other in Asia make it a bad area to spread ideas in agriculture. Jared Diamond, a scientist and author of Guns, Germs, and Steel, came up with the theory that societies in different parts of the world have major differences in technology because of biological differences in their regions and not biological differences in their people. This suggests that the societies that evolved quicker than others were lucky to be formed in places with good resources, like Europe and Asia. Some societies, like the Pacific Islanders, were not lucky with the region they developed in and were slow to gain technology. Taro. The main crop of the Pacific Islands was taro, which is an edible root. The root is brown and starchy, while its leaves are green and succulent, but toxic if not cooked. The Pacific Islanders grew the taro roots and ate them as their main food. It took 3 seasons to grow the taro roots, so their tropical climate helped keep the plants warm enough throughout the year. This was a good food to eat as it has a good amount of carbohydrates and not much sugar or fat. The problem with this plant is that it goes bad about a week or two after being harvested, so they can't store it well. Fish. The main meat food for the Pacific Islanders was fish. Since they were surrounded by water, it was easy for them to catch and cook fish. There were also no land mammals on the islands. Since there were no animals like cows, pigs, or dogs, they couldn't have other animals do labor for them. One smart way of using animals that they thought of was fish farming or aquaculture. They would use streams to funnel the fish, like tilapia and salmon, into nets. Fish were a big part of Pacific Islander society, not only because they were a good food source, but also for fertilizer. Since they had no cows, they had no manure, so they used fish guts to fertilize the soil for growing taro. Chikungunya. The Pacific Islanders didn't get many diseases like the Europeans did, but they had one disease that is similar to malaria or Zika. It is called chikungunya. It is a disease that is transmitted through mosquitoes, which thrive in places with tropical climates like the Pacific Islands. It causes headaches, fever, fatigue, and muscle and joint pain, which can last long after the disease is gone. With modern treatment, you can be cured, but many Pacific Islanders died from it. The ones that survived, however, never got the disease again. This is better than other areas with multiple diseases, but the Pacific Islanders never came up with a treatment, so it is still a bad factor. Technology. The Pacific Islanders had a hard time developing technology for many reasons. First, they didn't have animals to do hard, laborious tasks for them, so they can focus on other things. Second, the food they grew wasn't good for storing long amounts of time, so they weren't able to do anything other than work on food production. Third, and most importantly, the islands were spread out and far away from each other and Eurasia. This made it difficult to transfer technology, agriculture, and ideas with the societies in other places. Because of this, the Pacific Islands had a hard time developing into an agricultural society. One part of technology that made it easier to spread ideas was boats. The Pacific Islanders made boats to travel from island to island spreading ideas. They also eventually made it to the Asian mainland, connecting them to China and Vietnam. Geographical factors. The Pacific Islands had a tropical climate, which had many impacts on the lives of Pacific Islanders. One was that mosquitoes prefer a warmer climate, so they were able to multiply and become a big threat when they developed chikungunya. A second is that a tropical climate benefits the soil for agriculture, which made it easier for them to grow crops. The third reason is because the humidity of tropical climates help the body's heart and lungs and helps regulate blood pressure. Also, the Pacific Islands are spread out in an east-west direction, which according to Jared Diamond would be better for spreading information, but it is composed of multiple spread out islands, which does not help the spread of information. Grade. On a scale from A to F, I give the Pacific Islands a D+. This is because the Pacific Islands are spread out from each other in main continents like Asia. This is bad for sharing information and ideas. Also, the Pacific Islands have no native land mammals, which doesn't allow them to use animals as a source of labor. Although the Pacific Islanders weren't very lucky with the region they developed in, they did well with the resources they had.
That's all, folks.